recognize the Commissioner of the Border Management Authority, Dr. Michael Masiapatu, the Deputy Commissioner for Corporate Services, Ms. Jane Tupana, the Deputy Commissioner for Operations, we just heard from Major General David Chilembe, the Head of Communications for the BMA staff that I'm seeing around here, members of the media, and indeed members of the public. Today is a momentous occasion for the Border Management Authority as an institution, but also for South Africa as a country. Because today we are showcasing the single biggest step forward in border management that we have seen probably ever. And it is a step that is based around our commitment to digital transformation. What you see before you in terms of the devices that we will showcase a little bit later is concrete proof of the fruits that follow when we commit ourselves to using technology in smarter and more effective ways. We have really said right from the start that using technology is the only way that we are going to make up for shortfalls, whether those shortfalls be financial, whether those shortfalls be in terms of human resources. And today we are going to demonstrate to you what we mean by that. And we are going to, I believe, send a very clear message about the capabilities of the Border Management Authority as a law enforcement entity and about the huge progress we are making in securing the border environment. So we will get to the fun part a little bit later. Before we demonstrate the technology, the Commissioner will take us through the operational plan for Easter, where these tools will now be deployed for the very first time. And we will see the fruits of the deployment of these devices at that point. Now, we have already piloted some of this technology that we are showcasing today. And I'd like to start with the unmanned aerial vehicles, or the drones. So what we did over the December period was to cooperate with the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development to pilot the use of these devices and measure the impact that they have in the port environment and in enhancing the capability of government to prevent, detect and deter illegal crossings into South Africa. A few months ago, I stood at this podium and we announced the data that came out of those operations. What we saw was a 215% increase in the number of attempted illegal crossings by undocumented persons that were prevented. And we even were able to showcase thousands of instances where the use of these drones actually led to apprehensions directly. In other words, they enabled the detection of someone trying to cross the borderline, the deployment of BMA officials and resources, and then the arrest and direct deportation of those individuals. So what we were able to do in December was to prove that the concept works. We were in 5 different port environments with our partners from agriculture, and that was a very valuable opportunity for us to actually demonstrate the value of this approach. But today, I would say to you, ladies and gentlemen, and fellow South Africans, is at a whole different level. Because what we are announcing today, first of all, is the Border Management Authority's deployment of its own drone technology. And the device that we have on display here is one of 4 of these devices that will be deployed for the first time as part of the Easter operational plan. I want to say to you that they say dynamite comes in small packages. Do not be deceived by the size of this drone. I think it is one of the most advanced that you will find in the country at the moment. These drones will now be deployed, as I say, at these 4 different border posts, but it's important to emphasize that they will be moving around. So there are 4 of these devices, but as soon as the Border Management Authority receives indications that they are needed at other ports of entry, they will be moved to go and work all across the country at all ports of entry. I'm very excited to also be able to share with you that we are investing in our people. The Border Management Authority, through this project, is showing that it's not only about the technology, it is about the human resources and the culture shift that goes with that if you are going to use these tools to maximum advantage. That is why we are training 8 drone pilots. There will be 2 per device, and they will work in shifts to make sure that we have around-the-clock usage and detection in the port environment. It will be a very intensive training program. There will be weeks of in-class training. There will also be in-field training to make sure that we have the best people operating these devices. The other good news is that the partnership with agriculture has been so successful that we are extending it. And I want to thank the minister, the department in that regard, to make sure that we are actually augmenting our capacity. In other words, for this Easter season, not only will the BMA be deploying the 4 highly advanced drones that it now possesses, but we will have 5 more of these devices being operated by our partners in the Department of Agriculture. And I think that again demonstrates to us the power of the whole of government approach. So indeed, firstly, on the drone side of things, this is a revolution in border management, ladies and gentlemen. And I think it's important to highlight some of the capabilities of these devices so that we can all understand what they actually enable us to do, how they are going to revolutionize our ability to secure our country's borders. So there are 2 models that will be rolled out. So there's 2 of each. The first one is called the Evo Max 4N, and then there's also the Evo Max 4T. They have slightly different capabilities. The 4N is more suited for daytime operations, although it does also have the night capabilities. But I think the 4T is really going to be eyes in the sky for the BMA whenever it needs to, including at nighttime. So to give you a sense of the capabilities, and I want this to also be a very clear message to people who think about entering this country illegally. Listen to what we can now do for the very first time. In terms of the capabilities, these drones launch within 15 seconds. If there's any indication that they are required or if there's a disturbance, they will be in the air immediately. They have thermal vision detection. So you cannot hide behind a tree, you cannot hide behind a bush. It will pick up your body heat and it will see you moving and trying to enter this country illegally. It has long-range zoom that can see up to 1.24 miles into the distance. And of course, it has a very advanced camera that is able to record and detect movements. In terms of the night features, this is very important for those who engage in criminality at the border environment because they think we can't see you. The 4N specifically is deliberately designed for night operations. It has what they call starlight night vision, zoom, thermal cameras, and full laser ranging capabilities. The starlight camera allows it to operate in lighting conditions as low as 0.0001 lux, delivering unparalleled performance in the dark. This device is ideal for night surveys and surveillance. Even more importantly, it's got autonomous pathfinding, which means that it can navigate its own environment, even if there are obstacles in the way. It has object identification and tracking, which means that artificial intelligence is used to program the drone. In other words, if we are looking for a certain kind of vehicle or a certain kind of group of people, the device is able to actually detect it using artificial intelligence. The speed of this device is also worth highlighting. These drones will fly through the air at 43 kilometers per hour. They are able to track and chase down any fugitive who wishes to flee when they see these devices overhead. So I think, ladies and gentlemen, if you take together those capabilities, you can see it what we mean when we say that by embracing digital transformation, we can overcome the obstacles that we face, not only in the border environment, but actually as government as a whole. Because what you will see over the coming few weeks, over the Easter period, is the use of these devices to run surveillance operations along the borderline and in the port environment that we would never have been able to do, even if we had more human resource capacity in the BMA. We all know that the BMA is short of officials. It is still short in many other regards, but we are going to leapfrog and close the gap now with this technology. The second thing I want to highlight for you is the use of the body cameras. There are 40 of these body cameras that have been procured now, and they too are going to be an invaluable resource. I think in the demonstration later, you will be able to see that for the very first time, the BMA can now see what is happening in the personal exchange at the port environment. In other words, if there is an official who needs to stamp a passport, if there is someone who is coming through the port environment, and of course, if someone is trying to solicit a bribe or engaging in other kind of corrupt activity, the BMA operational center will be able to see exactly what is going on in that environment. We have seen the impact of these devices in other countries. Body cameras have been used very successfully to reduce corruption and increase efficiency as well in many jurisdictions around the world. And the BMA is now moving onto the cutting edge of using this technology to make sure that we are actually able to optimize the operations in the port environment, but also, of course, to combat corruptions. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a first. We have never seen anything like this in South Africa. We have certainly never seen anything like this in the border environment. And if I look at what we were able to achieve in December in terms of deterrence and detection and increasing efficiency of the BMA, I am firmly of the view that we will look back at the first launch of these devices one day as a key step forward in securing South Africa's borders, in improving the border management environment, and making sure that we move up to the cutting edge of border management in this country. And I think the message has to also be very clear to anyone who thinks about coming illegally into South Africa. For the first time ever, we will see you. We will see you in the daytime. We will see you in the nighttime. We will see you hiding behind a tree. We will see you driving away in a vehicle. We will see you crossing a river. We will see you trying to get through a fence, and we will catch you. We have eyes in the sky 24/7, and your own body heat is going to give you away. There's nowhere to hide. There's nowhere to run. The BMA is an institution that is a source of pride for South Africa. It is making progress at a speed that this country should be very proud of. It is 2 years old, and it is deploying technology, it is improving systems, and it is clamping down on corruption at a scale that we've never seen before in the border management environment. This is not the last such briefing that we will have, ladies and gentlemen, because the BMA is in the process of further enhancing its technological capabilities. There are further tools on the way. There are speedboats on the way. There are more devices on the way. And we are going to make sure that this entity becomes a source of pride for every South African. We want you to know that when you cross into a port of entry as a South African and you see the BMA uniform, you see the BMA banner, you see the BMA body camera, the BMA drone, that this is your government working for you. This is the GNU delivering the change that the people voted for last year. And I cannot be prouder of the speed at which we are making this progress. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister, for those remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome the Commissioner of the Border Management Authority, Dr. Michael Masaya-Pato, to come and read the media statement for the Easter operations.
The Honorable Minister of the Department of Home Affairs, who is also the chairperson of the Interministerial Committee on Border Management, Dr. Leon Schreiber, the Deputy Commissioner for Corporate Services, Madam Jane Tupana, the Deputy Commissioner for Operations, Major General David Chilembe, retired, the Assistant Commissioners, as well as the Deputy Assistant Commissioners present in this assembly, The members of AMSCO, of course, our key partner, together with Exxon, who are present here in this conversation, the entire border management community, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Yes, indeed, we are going to start with another operations as the Border Management Authority, and this time around is the Easter festive operations, as it were. And of course, this is the plan that we are presenting, demonstrating the work that we are going to be doing during the Easter weekend, as it were. Now, the Border Management Authority presents, or the Border Management Authority's presence at all ports of entry has seen a viable, or what you will call visible, effective, as well as meticulous processing of the movement of goods and people. The border management has also transformed into the border environment has also transformed into a complex ecosystem that demand agile, intelligence-driven response, seamless interagency cooperation, and cutting-edge technological intervention. As the Easter holiday approach, the BMA is working around the clock to prepare to ensure the safe, secure, as well as the efficient movement of people and goods across our ports of entry. So once again, I am honored to present the BMA Comprehensive Operational Plan for the 2025 Easter season. This Easter plan is supported by various law enforcement structures in the country, such as the South African Police Service, the South African Revenue Service, the South African National Defence Force, the Cross-Border Road Transport Agency, the Road Traffic Management Corporation, and various traffic authorities in the respective provinces. I would like to appreciate a special collaboration that we have been able to forge between the Border Management Authority and the newly, I will say, established Department of Land Reform and Rural Development, particularly around the issues of the utilization of the drones that the Minister had spoken about. So on the 1st of April 2025, the BMA proudly celebrated its second anniversary since its official establishment on the 1st of April 2023, marking 2 years of dedicated service in securing South African borders and facilitating legitimate movement across our ports of entry and the border law enforcement area. The establishment of the BMA, as it is fairly known, actually came as a result of the transfer of border law enforcement functions and officials from key government departments, such as those of the Department of Home Affairs, the Department of Health, the Department of Forestry, Fisheries, and the Environment, together with those from the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform, and Rural Development. All of this has been done towards the establishment of a single integrated authority mandated to secure and manage South African borders. As the third national armed service of the Republic, the officials have the responsibility to facilitate immigration matters, port health issues, environmental issues, agricultural biosecurity services, including access control as well as general law enforcement functions at the port of entry as well as the border law enforcement area. The BMA's leadership and staff continue to enjoy a high-pressured operational environment where vigilance and rapid response are not just priorities, but non-negotiable. We are here to serve the citizens of the country to deter any illegality at the ports of entry as well as the border law enforcement area without fear or favor. The Easter period is traditionally characterized by a significant spike in the movement of people and goods across our port, therefore placing significant demand on the BMA to maintain optimal operational readiness. During this period, families travel for religious observances, they travel for holidays and also for cultural gatherings, while traders and transporters increase activity in preparation for the long Easter weekend. With the expected increase in attendance from the Zionist Christian Church in Limpopo, more travelers are also expected to move from our neighboring countries into South Africa. These heightened activities bring both opportunities and risks, requiring a concerted and integrated operational response. The 2025 Easter operations follows a successful implementation of the 2024-2025 festive season plan, which saw a steady increase of 5,084,251 travelers processed across our 71 ports of entry. This plan builds on the successes and the lessons learned from our previous operations, ensuring the advancement of robust mechanisms for safe as well as secure travel. Through the assistance of drone technology, our previous deployments, especially during the December and January operations, were responsive as well as reactional to illegal movements, as it were. The increase in the festive season movement prompted the BMA to officially begin with the Easter festive plan since the 1st of February 2025 through to the 14th of April 2025. Part of the planning phase include conducting situational analysis at the ports of entry as well as at the regional level for the purposes of determining the specific needs of each port. Working together with the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure, we continue to improve critical infrastructure at the selected port. In this regard, we will be deploying additional equipment such as water tankers, generators, additional ablution facilities, as well as other critical utilities from the 15th to the 24th of April in 2025. The execution phase of the BMA Easter operational plan will run for a period of 10 days. It will start from the 15th of April 2025 to the 24th of April 2025, during which deployments and intensified border operations will be heightened. The execution phase consists of both the exit as well as the return leg, and of course of the cross-border travel, during which the BMA will then intensify its operational activities. In this period, there will be focused deployments, there will be intensified security measures, there will be increased processing capacity, as well as streamlined border checks. All this will be done in order to ensure the smooth as well as the secure passage for all travelers while maintaining vigilance against illegal activities. The departure peak of this year's Easter festive is anticipated to be on Thursday, the 17th of April, 2025, while the return surge is expected between Sunday, the 20th, as well as Monday, the 21st of April, 2025. Travelers and stakeholders are advised to take note of these key dates so that they can proactively plan their early travel to assist in easing congestion on the corridors leading to the ports of entry. Possession of valid travel documents, adherence to all border management laws, as well as cooperating with officials will ensure a smooth as well as more efficient processing of all travelers. Last year's Easter period recorded a sharp rise in traveler volumes. In the period of 10 days last year, between the 26th of March 2024 to the 4th of April 2024, the BMA registered a total of over 1,136,250 movements, which was a significant increase of 24.3% when compared to the 913,859,000 movement recorded during the 2023 festive period. Therefore, in this Easter period, we expect a further increase in traveler volumes, as the trend has been very much visible. Following the conclusion of the execution plan, we will proceed to do the demobilization phase, which will run from the 25th of April 2025. This phase will be focused on scaling down operations, but also conducting post-operational assessment. The assessment and the operations post this Easter period will continue until the next peak, which is expected, and among those will be the highest level of the number of people that will be expected coming through into the country for the first ever G20 summit that is to be held in the continent and in the country for the first time. And of course, that will also lead into the preparations for the 2025 December as well as January 2026 festive operations. Now, as a practice, even this time around, in this Easter period, we engaged with our counterparts, effectively our neighboring countries. Here we talk about Lesotho, we talk about Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Eswatini, Namibia, as well as Botswana. we have agreed to extend some operating hours at certain critical ports which are effectively not operating on a 24-hour basis. As a result, the chairperson of the Interministerial Consultative Committee on Border Management, who is also the Minister of Home Affairs, Dr. Leon Schreiber, had approved our request to extend these operating hours at the selected port of entry. So on that particular basis, we want to just quickly reflect on those particular shifts in terms of operating hours, and this is very much critical for the travelers as well as those that are intending to either exit or enter the country. The first ones to indicate are the two ports, which are actually ports between South Africa and Botswana. The first one we want to reflect is a port called Grobelaars Bridge, port of entry, that is from South Africa into Botswana. The normal operating hours there is between 6 and 10. So we effectively close at 10 under normal circumstances. But on the 17th as well as on the 20th of April, we are going to open it for 24 hours. And of course, on the 21st of April, we will then open it at least until 12 midnight. In terms of the port to Mozambique, which is Kosi Bay port of entry, which is situated in the KwaZulu-Natal area, the normal operating hours there is between 8 in the morning and 5 in the afternoon, and we will just extend there by starting 2 hours earlier at 6, and therefore we are going to close at 6 in the evening. In other words, 1800 hours, and that is going to be on the 17th until the 23rd of April 2025. When it comes to the 3 ports to Eswatini, the first one we want to reflect on is Mahamba port of entry. It operates between 7 and 10 under normal circumstances. We are going to close it at 12 midnight. That is on the 17th of April. But as for on the 20th, we are going to close it at 10 instead of it closing. And we then have the second port. Just apologies there. Then the second port is Jibis Reef, also to Eswatini. It operates from 7 and it closes at 8 in the evening, and we are then going to close it 2 hours later at 10, and that is on the 17th as well as on the 20th of April. Then the second one again to Eswatini is Mananga port of entry. It actually opens from 7 and up to 6 in the evening under normal circumstances. We are then going to close at 8 between the 16th and the 17th of April, so that we are actually able to deal with the volumes as it were. Then the last category of the ports are those that are leading to Lesotho. The first one is the one called Sunny Pass port of entry. It actually opens at 6 in the morning until 6 in the evening. We are then going to close it on the 16th and the 17th of April. We are going to close at 7 in the evening. When it comes to Caledonspoort, also to Lesotho, it opens between 6 and 10. We are going to open it for 24 hours on the 17th of April, 2025. And of course, when it comes to the 21st of April, 2025, we are going to close it at 12 midnight. In terms of Van Rooyen's Gate, also going into Lesotho, under normal circumstances, it opens from 6 until 10 in the evening. We are then going to open it for 24 hours on the 17th of April. And again, when it comes to the 21st of April, we are going to close at midnight. That is around 12 midnight. When it comes to Mononta Pass, again, also going to Lesotho, it opens between 8 in the morning until 4 in the evening or in the afternoon. We are then going to close it at 1800 hours in the evening. That is on the 17th as well as the 21st of April 2025. When it comes to Peka Bridge, also to Lesotho, it opens from 8 until 4. We are then going to close it at 6 in the afternoon. And that is on the 17th as well as the 21st of April 2025. And of course, the last one is Tasha's Neck, also to Lesotho. It opens at 7 in the morning until 8 in the evening under normal circumstances. We are then going to close it at 10 on the 15th as well as the 17th of April. So these are the extensions that has been effected on these particular dates. And of course, this has been done in collaboration with our immediate neighbors. And of course, they had actually agreed for that reciprocity to make sure that we are able to facilitate the volumes that are expected. As a demonstration of our operational readiness, the BMA will increase deployment in all ports, especially in the eve of Easter, with high visibility personnel as well as our rapid response teams. To this end, all BMA senior and executive managers will be deployed to critical ports between the 15th and the 24th of April 2025. This includes, in particular, Limbombo port of entry to Mozambique, Beit Bridge port of entry into Zimbabwe and into the continent, Groblersdal Bridge port of entry into Botswana, Kofontein into Botswana, OR Tambo International Airport, Cape Town International Airport, Oshuk port of entry into Eswatini, Fixbeck, as well as Maseru Bridge ports of entry to Lesotho. There will be those additional deployments from the leadership to make sure that the team on the ground is supported. Now, coming to issues relating to immigration, the BMA will intensify its efforts across several critical focus areas to ensure secure as well as efficient border operations. This includes the detection of undocumented travelers, strengthening access control measures at all ports, but also taking firm action against corruption. ICT support teams from the BMA, together with those coming from SARS as well as the Department of Home Affairs, will ensure smooth operations on the movement control system to capture travelers coming in and out of South Africa. Travelers are expected to present themselves at the designated port of entry and not use the borderline to enter or exit the Republic illegally. Our ports of entry are national key points, so unauthorized movement or visitation by individuals or organizations will not be permitted unless prior permission is sought and communicated to the Port Management Committee for approval. When coming to port health-related matters, the BMA health specialists will continue with the screening of travelers across all ports of entry to detect various infectious and/or communicable diseases. Travelers arriving from yellow fever endemic areas are required to have in their possession valid yellow fever certificates. Furthermore, conveyancers from yellow fever as well as malaria endemic areas must also ensure that their transport coming into South Africa are accordingly disinfected. As the BMA would like to urge travelers who present signs of illness to present themselves or report to the health facilities at the port of entry and to the BMA port health specialist on their arrival at the port of entry, or else they must visit their nearest health facilities or consult their private doctors for consultation. Those carrying health-related goods such as your food, your medicine, hazardous substances, or cosmetics must ensure that they declare them on arrival. We remind travelers transporting human remains, including ashes, that they must be in possession of import as well as export permit issued by the National Department of Health. When it comes to agricultural as well as environmental biosecurity matters, the importation of plants and or animals, including their related products, is highly regulated and requires the certification as well as permits issued by the relevant government departments for presentation at the port of entry, such as your veterinary permits as well as phytosanitary certification. However, should there be anyone who decides to disregard this law, will face a fine of up to 20,000 rand or imprisonment. Travelers are also urged to take caution on their luggage in order to ensure that they do not unconsciously introduce invasive species into the country. When it comes to general border law enforcement functions, the authority, in collaboration with other traffic authorities, will enhance corridor management to monitor the movement along the key travel routes, but also to implement robust traffic control as well as safety measures to support the smooth flow of people as well as goods during this high traffic period. As the BMA, we also take note that South Africa has the honor of hosting the G20 summit, and this will call for enhanced border management and security with seamless coordination across all ports of entry, as well as working with the rest of the government ecosystem. This is to uphold the country's global reputation and ensure the safe movement of international delegates and travelers. As we approach these busy periods on our national calendar, it is critical that we reaffirm our commitment to ensuring well-managed movement in all ports of entry across the country. In conclusion, the BMA is firmly bound by the principles of integrity, operational excellence, as well as accountability. We do not take lightly our responsibility to protect the sovereignty of our borders and ensure the legitimate movement of people and goods across our ports of entry as well as the border law enforcement area. We would like to issue a stern warning to travelers and all officials who do not, for not to get involved in any kind of illegal activities, as they will be caught and harshly punished. This Easter, we ask the cooperation of all travelers as well as all stakeholders to adhere to the laws of the Republic and assist our personnel in performing their duties effectively. We continue to urge the public to assist us in reporting any suspicious activities, illegal or otherwise, corruption or otherwise, by calling our toll-free number under Operation Itibise, which is 0801 229 019. But again, citizens can also report any kind of activity that is outside the principle of ethics at the website www.bma.gov.za. Let us all work together to ensure safe, efficient, and secure Easter period for all who shall be crossing our ports of entry in this particular period. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Dr. Masiapato, for that statement, and I would like to announce that the statement will be made available on the BMA website so that the information is shared widely. I would now like to invite the following colleagues who will be assisting with the demonstration. And I invite our leadership, the Honorable Minister, Dr. Leon Schreiber, Commissioner Masiapato, to also join as the demonstration will be made. I'm calling upon DAC Peter Mpilo to come and assist with the demonstration. And for the body cameras, Mr. Sujo Mulamatatio from SpaceX, and for the drone demonstration, Nonhlanhla Tembu from Nzu Aviation Solutions. Colleagues, you are invited to showcase the capabilities of the drones as well as the body cameras. We invite the Minister and the Commissioner and the General to come forward to witness this demonstration.
Thank you so much. What we're going to do now, as it was explained, I will not explain the capability of the body-worn camera, but otherwise it can record for up to 16 hours. It has the capability to take the video, to record the voice. You can even pin the location where the person is. As it is now, it is off, it is not recording. If you want to record, you press and hold, it will then become red. When the red light is flashing, it indicates that it is recording. What we have done now is that we have displayed and deployed these body-worn cameras in the following areas. We have a few that we have deployed in the building at our entrances. We have deployed another few at Ortambo, Fixback, and also Maseru. We are going to demonstrate the capability that we'll see right live there. The technician, as I direct, he will view as I am talking. What the gadget is able to do when we point at the particular port. Thank you. What you're going to do now, as we are going to start to demonstrate the capability of the body-worn camera per entry, he will start with the deployment of the body-worn camera in this building. What it will do, you will first see the aerial map where the gadget is. It has that capability before you can see exactly what the camera sees. So as it is now, he will demonstrate what we are seeing in this building. You could see right there that this is the building where we are, and we've deployed them at two sides of the building. He's now going to view live so that you can see what the official deployed can see live. This will go a long way. So this is right at the gate now. We can talk to the person there. We can see what the person sees, and we can also pinpoint where the person is. Secondly, if the person is under threat, if he presses this button here, it will twice, it will indicate and tell us that the person is now under threat, so that we can then deploy the boots on the ground to go and respond. I want to request that we then go to OR Tambo. If you can go to OR Tambo, you will first see the aerial view of where OR Tambo is and the number of deployed body-worn cameras and what that particular camera sees live. This what you're going to see here at head office, and this what we're also going to see at the control room of each and every port. Let's go to Maseru. You could see this will be live at the control room. If the commissioner is US, he will be able to see what the boots on the ground are doing. And this is key for the safety of our officials, because from time to time they are confronted with aggressive airport users and travelers. So this is live in Maseru. Our official is busy working, so you will see live. You can hear the conversations. You can literally see what everyone is doing, all your boots that you have deployed across the ports in the car country. Can you just enlarge it a bit? You see, you can see the aerial picture of the entire port we have deployed through there. You can see where each of them is. This is live now in Maseru. You can see the officer is moving around. Whether it's on the borderline, right at the port, on the corridor, we'll be able to see what is happening operationally on the ground. This is what the minister was talking about.
Can you hear us? Can you move a bit to the left?
You see, they're talking northern, southern Sotho to those that do not understand. So we can hear here at the office and see what they're saying. We are now going to move to a fixed back. You can see the entire borderline, and that's where fixed back is now. And we've deployed two. You can exactly see where each of the body-worn camera is.
Connectivity here. It's not on that side.
Let's go back to our Tambo. You can see our beautiful international port of entry as an aerial view. We will now go. There are two gadgets that we've deployed there. You will click one so that we can exactly see what is happening there. Yeah, basically, sometimes network challenges can fail us. This is a capability that as BMA we are launching, and we are going to face it in to cover all the ports with the support of the drones. What I did not mention is that the software of the drone can be integrated into the body-worn camera system. When we are seated at head office national control room, we'll be able to see what the drone sees and what also the body-worn camera sees. We can also link the location if one presses the to where the person is while the boots on the ground are following. When it is double-clicked and it is flashing red like this, is an indication that we are recording. We have looked into the safety measures and also to inform the public that this yellow thing is a warning, and the red sign tells the port users that they are being recorded. By law, we are only required to let them know that they are entering a facility that's under surveillance, and would have complied by this signage and the signages that are going to put as you enter all our ports. This will go a long way in ensuring safety of our employees, and further to ensure that we are transparent as we manage port operations across all our ports. This information will be recorded and stored in a secure facility, and the releasing thereof will be released in accordance with the laws in this country. And we'll also use the recorded data to improve efficiency, as it is key that we're able to go back and review our operation with the view to improve from time to.
It shows that this person is under distress.
Yeah, it shows now that the person is under the distress. Which part is that?
No, that's here. That's
Oh,
you.
yeah. Oh, it is me. Hey, I'm under a distress, you know. If this was live, you know, the drone was going to come to me while the boots on the ground are following my location. Thank you so much, Commissioner.
Thank you, Deputy Assistant Commissioner Mpilo, for that demonstration. And indeed, we are in the fourth industrial revolution, colleagues. I would now like to call Commissioner Mpilo again for the demonstration of the drone technology.
Thank you so much. I'm going to invite on the stage our pilot who's going to fly the drone to briefly explain the capabilities of the drone. We are serious about empowering women. Our youth stand to benefit out of the initiative that BMA is embarking on. She will come on stage and quickly explain the capabilities of the drone.
Please come and stand here.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nonhlanhla Mthembu, and I'm a drone operator. I'm here with Into Aviation. So I'm not sure, is it possible to try and connect it to the screen, maybe? So what we have here is a multi-rotor drone, as you can see. I think the minister did quite a good job explaining the features of the drone earlier. I don't even know what to say anymore. So as you can see, that is the drone. As small as it is, it does a wonderful job. And you control the drone from the screen here, as you can see. As you can see, you've got the camera. It's facing that way. Whatever the camera can see, I can control and see it from the screen. As the minister mentioned earlier, we've got different sensors or different cameras that we can get from this drone. So you've got the normal camera that just captures the overview. You've got the zoom camera, which is very good. You can see, if you're flying, you can see something that is about 20 kilometers away. That's how good it is. The aircraft can go as high as 7,000 meters in the air. It also has a thermal camera, which reads his heat signatures, as he mentioned earlier. Meaning at night, when it's pitch black, where you can't really use your normal cameras, it will detect if a person or a car is moving. It also has AI detection, meaning especially at night when you fly, you can see something moving. Sometimes you're not sure whether it's a dog, it's a car, or it's a person. The AI is able to detect what that particular object is, which will be very useful for people who are trying to sneak in the country illegally and all that for the border operations. It also has a tracking mode in the drone, meaning if you've identified a suspect or a vehicle, you simply click on that and it will follow. The camera will follow no matter where the person or the vehicle goes. It will always follow the person, which will be very helpful. You can even put a pin, drop a pin on the map. As you can see, I've also got a map here. Wherever you're flying, you're able to access the map. The drone will automatically detect where you are. So you can drop a pin and also communicate with the ground team. Because remember, the drone is more of your eyes in the air, but you also need to be able to communicate with the people who are supposed to be, if you're catching someone and all that. You drop a pin, they're able to get the coordinates and all that. You also have got laser technology. As you can see, you've got a laser sensor here. So you're able to see how far that person is. It calculates how far it is and also gives the coordinates. As the minister said, this will be a very useful tool as far as eyes in the air. And also being able to make the officers work easier and simply working smart. And it also has a live streaming feature where I'm flying here and there's a control room. Whatever I can see on the screen as the drone operator, they also have access to it in the control room, which is very, very helpful. So, and also the lights. The commissioner did mention when people are being recorded, they have to be alerted that they are being monitored. So it also has lights, as you can see, on the aircraft. And we also have auxiliary lights, which are like white lights. Now you're able to see that you're being recorded or whatever operations we're going to be doing at the borders. So this will be a very, very useful tool. Thank you.
Can we have the group photo?
You want me to fly? Yeah, flying.
Once he's trained, he can fly.
Yes, I'll join you on the. You can train me, and that's how we'll do it. No, please stand. It's your tool. You should see the camera.
Oh, yeah. And now we can see them from our screen.
And there it is, yeah.
You can see them. Let's take a picture as well.
Yeah, it's perfect. Nowhere to hide. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. You're a star. Fantastic. Like a kid in a candy store. Thank you.
Thank you. We are now coming to our interactive session, and we invite members of the media that are in the room and that are online to pose questions to us to seek clarity. And as it is protocol, I would request that before you pose a question, you briefly introduce yourself and the media house that you are representing. I will start in this room before we go to online platforms.
Thank you so much. I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? This is perhaps a clarity-seeking question. I want to know the cost involved in acquiring all this technology, and do we own it? Are we leasing technology covering the shortfall? And we know that there are infrastructure issues at our borders. We've talked about capacitating, resourcing, in terms of technology, but what does it mean from an infrastructure point of view? I know that's a public works, conversation, but how are we managing the issue of infrastructure? Thank you.
Thank you for that question. You can go ahead.
Morning. My name is Tato. I'm from News 24. Minister, you're introducing the new technology, and what we're wondering about is whether you are worried about your position as minister, knowing that the GNU is in a difficult position, and whether this is going to affect not only the implementation of this, but the implementation of your other plans, such as having banks be able to issue additional home affairs documents like passports and such. And also, just an additional question. We know that's something that's made, like my colleague mentioned, the infrastructure issues at the border, and what's made those harder is a lot of the environmental factors that have been affecting it, such as the floods and such. So how do you see climate change impacting your portfolio? Thank you.
Thank you. We can go ahead.
Hi, my name is Kwena Mashwali from the Sowetan. I just wanted to ask, just in light of the demonstration, great demonstration by the way, but I think my concern was the low service part. In South Africa, it's really prone. We have areas that do not have connections in the country. What exactly how are you guys going to be able to mitigate around that? Especially obviously in scenarios where we have unfortunate crises of load shedding, stuff like that. And secondly, my question is also in regards to the corruption. There is limited equipment on the ground. I understand you said that more will be coming, but just to kind of also mitigate the equipment itself, is there any protection for the equipment? Because we do know that some criminals will do some sort of copycat of the equipment to try and bridge it. So is there any safety measures for that, as well as any cyber security for that as well? Thank you.
Thank you, Kwena, for that. Due to the nature of the questions, we could get the Minister and the Commissioner to respond on this.
Thank you very much for the questions. Let me start with the costs involved, and I would just also ask the Commissioner to come in on this one. But these tools were procured through Arms Corps, and it was quite an interesting process because it's never really been done before. The specifications for this kind of technology actually had to be defined to a large extent. So it was a good exercise, I think, for government to go through, because we now know a lot more about how these tools actually work and what it is that you require in the border environment, but in the law enforcement environment more broadly. My understanding is that the procurement that was done through Arms Corps. So all of the training that will now be rolled out to get more brilliant pilots like the one we just saw is actually also already included. But I'll ask the Commissioner to maybe just come in on the maintenance part of that. In terms of the infrastructure issues that you both raise, the good news is that that has not been left behind in this process. There should be within the next few weeks an announcement on the redevelopment of the 6 biggest land ports of entry in South Africa, and they will be done through a public-private partnership. So that process is well advanced, and that too is going to be an enormous step forward for us. It will entail the physical reconstruction of those 6 busiest land ports, and we intend to then integrate that with the one-stop border post concept. So I've personally experienced this in East Africa, for example, where it massively speeds up your cross-border movements because you're able to integrate both processes on this country's side and the other country's side in one stop, essentially. So we've got the one-stop border post bill in Parliament, and together with the redevelopment of those ports of entry, which can then be designed around that concept, that is going to really help us massively on the infrastructure process. Obviously, it entails construction, so that will take some time, but that process is well advanced, and there should be some announcements in the next couple of weeks. Let me quickly just link the infrastructure point on climate change that you raise as well. You are right, and I mean, one of the areas, I think it's Grobler's Bridge that is prone to flooding as well. So the BMA is looking at if there are redevelopments at that port, as an example, you actually may have to move some of it. Now, in many of these cases, if it's part of an existing plan to redevelop, if the facilities require an upgrade anyway, it may not be that disruptive because it's still good to redevelop it. But if you have a new facility, for example, that's being hit by flooding and the closures that we've seen, it becomes an issue. So it is definitely something that's relevant. Even thinking about infrastructure like bridges that are affected by this and that require investment now, that certainly is featuring in the space of these ports of entry. I think you asked me about the GNU. Let me tell you one thing. I'm not stopping working until someone drags me kicking and screaming out of work. That I can assure you. We are here to work. We are professionals here. The BMAs are professionals. We are working with professionals in the department, and that is the undertaking that I can give you, that we will keep working until someone drags us out from this facility. Let me then also just briefly touch on connectivity. Now, I see, where was the lady who asked the question? Yes. I see some people have suddenly discovered a love for SITA, State Information Technology Agency. Let me tell you, the damage and destruction that SITA has wrought on this country's IT infrastructure is a crime in and of itself. It's an entity that has not submitted the documents required to undergo an audit for something like 4 years. It has had a disclaimed audit opinion for 4 years running. The problems that we have in Home Affairs that we are now addressing are in large part caused by that institution. It has devastatingly failed this country. And so the connectivity problems that you're talking about is a consequence of a model that is built around SITA that centralizes procurement of technology. Now, firstly, you ask questions about the financial cost of that, of centralizing something like that. But secondly, technology doesn't work that way. Technology evolves. Technology by its nature is decentralized. And the BMA, what we are showcasing you here today, I'm very grateful for this question, is an entity that is exempt from SITA, which is why these devices are here, which is why we're capable of doing the things in the port environment that matter. But if the BMA, like government departments, including Home Affairs, were subject to that disgraceful institution, none of this would be here. The connectivity problems you're seeing is from that. And so that is why I want to express my absolute and full support for Minister Solly Malatsi's work to change the environment, the regulatory framework on IT and connectivity, because if we don't, the people who prevent us from changing that framework are the people who are going to be responsible for us not fixing connectivity issues in government. They're going to be the people responsible for us not being able to fix Home Affairs. They're going to be the people responsible to hold back SAPs from digitalizing their dockets, for example. So the reasons why we have paper dockets in SAPS, the reasons why we have paper dockets in health, the reasons why we've got paper visas in home affairs, in a large part is because of that entity. And it's the same answer to connectivity at public infrastructure. So that is why we will not apologize. This is what we can do if we are outside of that monopoly that has failed this country. And so we will continue to work. And I can tell you there's cross-government support. If there's one issue that unites the GNU, it is the fact that CETA has failed. And so Minister Solly Malatsi's work is essential for all of us to make progress. Thank you very much.
I would like to invite the Commissioner to address some of the questions.
The question you're asking about the costs, we can be able to provide with the actual breakdown. But what we can indicate is that the procurement of this technology is something that has been running for quite some time. I think it's over 28 months or so. And the money actually was never even a money that was the normal allocation to the Border Management Authority. I suppose you will remember that the work we did in 2022 in preparing for the BMA's establishment, we had actually indicated that the work will cost us around 2.9 billion, as it were. And that was the requirement or the request from a new money point of view. But of course, the state indicated through the fiscus that they will not be able to afford that, and they will only be able to afford 250 million, which we all know is not necessarily a secret. It has been articulated in Parliament and other platforms. That then became 8% of what was required for BMA's establishment. So it was on that basis that we had to look at other means to get some bit of extra funding for what we call the tools of trade. It is for that reason that we had to then put together a proposal, or what you will call a business case, into a structure called CARA, that is the Criminal Asset Recovery Account, and that is fairly administrated by the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. So when we then did that, we actually requested 500 million, which is basically $500 million, for us to be able to be assisted in procuring the initial tools of trade to get the BMA off the ground and to allow the entity to start functioning. And once again, because it was not only us that was applying, there were other structures that we were only given 150 million. So 150 million is basically part of what procured this. But of course, like I'm saying, I do not have the breakdown. But what I can indicate is that out of the 150 million, we had to procure a number of what we call the prison carriers. Prison carriers are the vans that we have actually deployed across the ports, and they're effectively used to put in people that would have been intercepted on the vulnerable segments on the borderline, and we would then bring them into the port and be able to process them immediately for deportation. So those particular vans are already on the ground, and they are actually being functional as we speak. And there are a lot of other vehicles that were procured also for use by our port health specialists, including those that operate on the air side. For example, at OR Tambo, you will realize there that there are some your VW GTI kind of vehicles or Golf kind of vehicles that are used by our specialists to be able to do work on the ground, as it were. Part of that was the issue of the procurement of the drones, as the minister had articulated. And of course, out of that, we talk about 4, and therefore that has been part of. And part of that was the procurement, obviously, of the body cams. And of course, part of that includes the procurement of the 4 speed boats that are supposed to be used by our coastal guards who are deployed in the respective harbors in the coastline, whether it is Durban Harbour, Cape Town Harbour, your Tebeha, your PEs and all of that. So effectively, the total money for the entire issue is 150 million in responding to the question that you have responded. And of course, that can be broken down and accounted for as it is supposed to be, because we actually do that all the time. The good thing is that we have requested AMSCO that is fairly competent to be able to assist us in this. So we do not transfer any money to AMSCO until a particular thing has been delivered. And that is basically the principle, so that we do not have any issues of financial confusion as we account in as far as these aspects are concerned. Now, your second question is the maintenance cost. So what we can indicate is as part of the basic operational cost of the Border Management Authority, there is very clear amount that is actually allocated outside other expenditures broadly, whether it's the compensation of employees or otherwise. And that is the kind of money that is used for running the organization. And part of that money that runs the organization is part of the money that is going to be effecting maintenance in as far as these particular devices are concerned. But of course, working very closely with the respective providers in as far as this part is concerned. So there is no any challenge in as far as that part is concerned. And of course, we can be able to break down the figures if there is a need to do so. So I think that is fairly the issue that I wanted just to add. The minister had covered everything around the issues of the flood and around the issues of the 6 ports and all of that. Maybe the only issue that the minister said I must talk to is the issue of cybersecurity. One thing that is very much real is that any advancement, otherwise, cybersecurity becomes the biggest threat. So it is for that reason that we have invested a lot in terms of focus. That is why our CTO, our Chief of Technology, is here. He is actually working day to the night to make sure that every other thing that we are actually deploying from a technology point of view is properly and effectively protected in as far as cybersecurity is concerned. And the kind of work that he does from a cybersecurity point of view is also a bit complicated for me. So he can be able to explain the technical issues, but what I can indicate based on the question is that we are very much aware, we are very much alive and well in terms of making sure that our technology enterprises are highly protected. And maybe let me also say this as I conclude, that in as much as these are technologies that are going to the port out there, the BMA back office is fully automated as we speak. That is why we are able to run the operations of 71 ports with only around 40 or 50 people. Under normal circumstances, you cannot be able to do so. The BMA is sitting with the staff complement of around 2,600. And those people are in the ports, meaning they are frontline. But in the back office, at head office level, we are only 40, 50, and we are running the entire operation. And the reason we are able to do so is because most of the everything is fairly been automated. Our performance management systems is automated. Our issues in terms of your claim models and all of that is automated, and every other thing is actually done by systems. And basically our officials are there to monitor and make sure that everything goes according to plan. And it is for that reason that we have invested a lot in the protection of our ICT infrastructure. If we want any technical and tactical complicated issues, I think there can be a conversation with the CTO. He's available to be able to engage on those aspects. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner. Do we have any more questions in the room? Okay, there are no questions. Gwena?
I just wanted to get if there's any statistics in regards to officials who are currently being investigated or have been suspended. I know recently you guys did fire about 6. So I just wanted to know if there's any statistics in regards to the number that are being currently investigated.
Thank you. Yes, so at the Home Affairs side, there's 33 that have been dismissed now since July of last year. The most recent 6 just came through this past week, and another 6 were issued then with written warnings. I don't right now recall the number that are under investigation in Home Affairs, but there is still a number of cases underway. There are 19 prosecutions underway from the Home Affairs space after 8 convictions that have been secured. As far as the Border Management Authority is concerned, there have been 10 dismissals, and there are 45 further cases under investigation. You will also recall that, of course, the BMA itself is an amalgamation of officials and officials from other previous departments. So, you know, building the culture in that institution is really important as well. So as much as we're focused on technology, the technology works best when it's built around a culture that embraces technology but also obviously acts in ethical ways. So when the Commissioner talks about having an automated back office, it speaks to the culture on the technology side, but then on the human resource side, very clearly the officials who came over into the BMA from other departments when it was created have to understand that whatever the culture was there, that's over. They must leave that behind. And that is why these disciplinary processes at the BMA are now really important, because it's setting the tone, as we're doing at Home Affairs, to say that we are building a new culture here and that these things will not be accepted going forward. So those are the latest numbers that I have. Thanks.
Oh, sorry. And sorry, Minister, and just on that question alone, I don't know if you're aware about a criminal case that is in Lenasia involving SASSA officials, where now the state is alleging that Home Affairs officials are involved in that particular syndicate. Our sources are telling us, in fact, that they're unable to get assistance from Home Affairs itself in identifying who these people are. Are you aware of that? Are you assisting in the probes that are related to SASSA fraud?
So not that specific case. I would ask that you just share it with the team afterwards. But you would have heard my remarks when we launched the Border Management and Immigration Anti-Corruption Forum, where I made this exact point, that it's not unique to Home Affairs, it's across the board that we have seen this syndicatization of society. Everything has become a syndicate. And it is in the wake of state capture. Once you've sent a message that the way to get ahead is by forming some kind of syndicate that advances your own interests, I think we've seen that now spread throughout society. So we are very much engaged with this problem. There's a multidisciplinary task team that followed on the work of the Lubisi report that continues to work with the Special Investigating Unit. And that's where these prosecutions are coming from. So I can tell you, those people, those most 6 recent cases, they would have all been linked to syndicates. But remember, the thing about a syndicate is it cuts across the government department and the private sphere, because you have people out there who obviously are, it's a two-way street. So you have people in the private sector or people who say that they're immigration specialists, etc., forming syndicates with people internally. So that's where all the prosecutions and dismissals, I think the majority come from. But I want to then just make this point again. The only way we are going to defeat it on a systemic level is by taking away the discretion. So I don't know the specific case you're referring to, but I can already imagine that if there's a syndicate operating, it takes some officials inside who are using their discretion to make certain decisions, to grant documents they shouldn't, to hold back other documents and say you must pay something if you want it. It's all around this element of discretion that opens the space for this kind of corruption. That is why the digitalization work is so important. Because in the visa space, for example, if you digitalize that and you use the same AI technology that guides this drone to differentiate between a cow and a person, you can use that technology to differentiate between a fake document and a real one. And it is in that way that we will then close off the discretion. That is, for me, fundamentally the point here, that we must prosecute people that are engaged in these syndicates, and we are doing that at a speed, I think, that should encourage everyone that we are actually serious about it. But at the same time, we don't want to be back here again in a year or 2 or 5 from now, where new syndicates form. And that's where the systemic change is required. That's where the digitalization is required. And I think we are also making really big progress. I have to mention the agreement we signed with SARS a week or 2 ago, a massive step forward for this entire ecosystem. We have Home Affairs, Border Management Authority, and Government Printing Works now in a collaboration with SARS to leverage their technology. So what SARS did for e-filing, I mean, you don't even fill in your tax return anymore. It's pre-populated. It uses AI. The work that Commissioner Kieswetter often talks about. We are now partnering with that institution to bring that into things like visa space and documents. So that's really where the systemic solution is going to come from. Thanks.
Thank you, Minister. We do not have any questions online. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to conclude the proceedings of today and invite members of the media who would like to have one-on-one interviews to come through me, and Mr. Siakoza, who's here in the room from Home Affairs, so that we are able to facilitate for you. Thank you very